Good evening and welcome to the historic Springvale Ballroom. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Mayor of the City of North Olmsted, Mayor Nicole Daly-Jones.
Good evening. I'm North Olmsted Mayor Nicole Daly-Jones, and I welcome you to the historic Springvale Ballroom for my third State of the City address. Thank you for joining me tonight. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce all members of the North Olmsted City Council. President of Council, Lou Broussard. Ward 1 Councilman, Chris Scarl. Ward 2 Councilman, Matt Murray. Ward 3 Councilwoman, Mary Gilchrist. Ward 4 Councilwoman, Mary Ellen Heeman. At-large Councilman, Dwayne Limpert. At-large Councilman, Mark Madden. At-large Councilman, Paul Shimsky. I'd like to introduce all of my city directors who will be available after the address to answer questions or to provide assistance if you need anything. We'll begin with our elected directors of Law and Finance, Michael Garreau Jr. and Carrie Kopfer. Director of Public Safety, Jennifer Schofield. Director of Economic and Community Development, Max Upton. Director of Public Service, Kevin Carney. Director of Human Resources, Lisa Kidd. And Director of Recreation and Public Engagement, Tim Pinchek. I'm happy to see so many faces in tonight's audience, and I'd like to recognize the other elected officials or their representatives that are here tonight. Chase Conklin from Congressman Max Miller's office. Max Kovach from U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno's office. State Senator Tom Patton. David Razum from Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronane's office. County Councilman Pat Kelly. Superintendent of North Olmsted Schools, Chris Caleris. North Olmsted School Board President, Gina Lehman. North Olmsted School Board Member, Tom Herbster. And Andrew Bean from the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency. I also want to take a moment to thank our city employees and our volunteer board and commission members for all of the hard work, time, and effort you each put into making our city a great place to live and work. And finally, I would like to recognize as being here tonight, Police Chief Bob Wagner, and Acting Chief Fire Captain and EMS Coordinator, Brian Schlapak. I'm happy to stand before you tonight in my fourth year as your mayor. It truly seems like it was just a few days ago that I was honored to start my term serving the city that I love. When I took office, there were many challenges facing the city, but also great opportunities. I made a commitment to you, the residents, that we would use your tax dollars wisely. We would spend every dollar with purpose, and that any investments we made would make this city better. This administration has a goal of investing in infrastructure, continuing to invest in public safety, improving our recreation options, and focusing on a strong, solid plan for economic development. In my first months, I was informed of several deferred maintenance and building improvement projects that had been ignored or put on the back burner. I tasked my staff with finding a creative way to improve our buildings, ensure safe working conditions for our employees, and to do so without sacrificing our operational capacity. At the conclusion of last year, we completed the bulk of $4 million of capital improvements to our city facilities, utilizing the energy efficiencies gained to finance the repairs. Some of the capital projects completed through this energy efficiency program include a new roof on Fire Station 1, installing LED lights at both fire stations, and providing a new ventilation system and a properly ventilated paint booth in our service garage for the health of our service department employees. The program is finishing up this year with replacing the remaining street lights with LED fixtures, which will also make our streets brighter and safer for our residents. It was all done risk-free to our taxpayers, as most of the savings are guaranteed, and if they don't come to fruition, Leopardo, the company we selected for the project, has to refund the difference to the city. We also looked at other necessary investments to our buildings. Last year, we utilized a grant from NOPEC to install LED lighting throughout the police station. This simple switch to LED lights will result in significant savings. This year, we will be investing $750,000 into our historic Old Town Hall as part of Phase 1 of the renovation. Listed on the National Register of Historical Places, repairs must be completed according to the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines for historic buildings, and these repairs are often very expensive. Phase 1 of the renovations include handicap accessibility upgrades, replacing the antiquated boiler system with a new HVAC system, a new roof and tuck pointing the brick. This will storm-proof the building and stop weather from continuing to damage the inside. This entire project is being done without a penny of local taxpayer money. My administration continues to fundraise for Phase 2 of this project. Once funded, Phase 2 would include remodeling the main floor to provide an up-to-date event space for community use. The basement would be redone to allow for needed city offices, a conference room, and public record storage space. Later this year, we will be doing a capital needs analysis for all of our city facilities. This will provide us a clear-eyed look at the remaining deferred maintenance, as well as a preventative maintenance plan, so that simple repairs don't turn into multi-million-dollar deferred maintenance projects. Roads, storm water tanks, along with storm and sewer pipes are also key city infrastructure. As you may have heard me say before, we only want to dig once. Nothing is more frustrating than repairing a road and then tearing it up to replace underground infrastructure. While the widening and safety improvements on Clegg Road will not be finished until later this year, thanks to the hard work of my team, along with the support of Congressman Max Miller and former Senator Sherrod Brown, we were able to get $1.25 million for the Clegg Road sanitary forced main piping project. Last year, you heard me talk about the hiring of a company to do a rigorous analysis of our road conditions. This provided us with a framework for setting our budget and preventative maintenance schedule, ensuring that we do the right repair at the right time to extend the lifespan of our roads and quality of our streets. This study also showed the city had not been investing enough in our roads. We're slipping into disrepair. My administration has asked for an increase of $300,000 in this year's budget for additional road maintenance. Thanks to the partnership with our city council, we are now investing more in our annual road program than we have done in the past decade. Over the long haul, with the increased investment, we will be able to improve the conditions of our roads. It will take several years for the full effect of this increased investment to really be seen throughout the city, but we are committed to investing the necessary amount to improve our streets. I understand that everyone is frustrated about potholes right now. Me too. Our service department, though, is out there every day. They're working on the roads as the weather permits, and they will continue to do so. But please understand that cold patching is a temporary fix. The factories that produce hot patch reopen in a couple of weeks, and once we can start using that product, the potholes will decrease. The conditions of some of the roads in our city, especially the county's Dover Center Road, is unacceptable. I am pleased to announce that we will be resurfacing Dover Center Road from Mill Road North to the Westlake line this year. I'm working with our partners at the county and the state to move this road up on their schedules. If successful, this would allow us to complete the entire road in 2025. Over the past 2 years, we have been preparing for changes on Lorraine Road. We commissioned a study that produced our Lorraine Road Corridor Plan. Additionally, we created a mechanism to keep more of your property tax dollars in the community to be invested in and around Lorraine Road. This funding can be used for things such as repaving the streets, making safer crosswalks for our children to get to school, and enhancing the sidewalk infrastructure to provide safer access for pedestrians and bicyclists. This is a key area in our city that sees tens of thousands of cars every day. It is important that the main thoroughfare is vibrant, safe, and welcoming for everyone, residents and visitors alike. One key recommendation from the Lorraine Road Plan was to focus on the area between Columbia and Walter Road, with a specific focus on the intersection of Columbia and Lorraine's priority safety improvement area. The intersection was identified as the most dangerous intersection in the city. With the new consolidated elementary school opening near it, I believe it's time to take action and fix it once and for all. It will be a very expensive project. We will have to acquire land, remediate it, and then redesign the intersection. I am working with Congressman Miller to request funding for a complete redesign of the Columbia-Lorraine Road intersection prior to the new school opening, and I thank Congressman Miller for his commitment of support for this much-needed safety improvement project. I look forward to talking about this project with new U.S. Senators Marino and Olmsted in the coming weeks. I have made it a priority that our community, regardless of political affiliation, has a great working relationship with all of our federal representatives and work with Representative Miller as well as Senators Marino and Olmsted. Construction started on the South Interceptor equalization tank this week. This has been a long time coming, and I'm glad to see this project starting. Through the work of our city engineer, we were able to redesign the original project saving approximately $2.5 million. This $7.8 million project will improve the city's sanitary sewage collection system by adding 1.5 million gallons of wastewater storage. This will reduce basement flooding and discharges to the environment during rainstorms. Finally, after over 5 years of planning, this project has broken ground and it's on track to be finished in 2026. Another commitment I made to residents was to invest in public safety. The Department of Public Safety, which consists of our police division, which includes corrections and dispatch, our fire division, and our building division, has continued to place an emphasis on training and investments in equipment, communications, and other technology. When taking office, I decided to reorganize the Division of Building under Public Safety. Under the leadership of the Director of Public Safety, our building division now works closely with our Fire Prevention Bureau to address residential and commercial properties and ensure that they are up to code. They worked together to remediate life safety and building code issues at a local smoke shop. They worked together to remove an unsafe dental lab from an office building. And they worked together to remove a house destroyed by fire. These are just a few examples from this past year of how these two divisions working closely together have made our community safer. In 2024, the fire department hit a record high for run volume with 5,045 total runs for fire and EMS combined. This is an increase of 325 runs from the previous year. An increase in staffing allowed us to handle the extra calls without needing as much mutual aid from neighboring communities. The city was awarded a state Homeland Security Program grant last fall of over $158,000 to procure specialized SWAT medic equipment and supplies for use during a terrorist attack or mass casualty event, including a cardiac monitor, portable ultrasound, and blood products. This is cutting-edge, life-saving equipment, and we are one of the first regional SWAT teams in Ohio to implement this technology. The police department has more officers on the police force than we have had in over 15 years. We have 49 sworn police officers proposed in the 2025 budget. The department added a second police K-9 team. K-9 Tarek and handler Austin Ashenfelter began working the streets of North Olmsted together in late 2024. The department established a training coordinator position to ensure our officers are receiving the best up-to-date training possible. This is an efficient and cost-effective way to ensure high-quality training that, in part, is reimbursed from the state. Our training officer is also the assistant commander for the West Shore Enforcement Bureau's SWAT team. We continued to make investments in the safety of our officers with adding rifle plates for all patrol officers' bulletproof vests, and over 75% of the costs were covered by grants. This year, the city is adding an additional full-time and part-time correction officer to assist at the city jail as well. I'm happy to announce that this past December, the North Olmsted dispatch footprint expanded when it began providing services to Olmsted Falls and Olmsted Township police and fire departments. This expansion project was a heavy lift that included major renovations to the police station and technology upgrades. The work was completed in a short window of 6 months, and our service department employees helped us keep the cost of the work down. The process included expanding the space, purchasing 3 new dispatch desks, upgrading radio technology, and installing backup servers and emergency notification system redundancies. Part of this project included hiring 4 additional full-time dispatchers and adding administrative support. The state has made it clear that it wants to consolidate dispatch centers with more communities dispatching police and fire side by side. This expansion prepares us to take on additional communities on the west and southwest side of Cuyahoga County if they wish to join us as the push to consolidate continues. Our building division has also been extremely busy. In last year's State of the City address, you heard me talk about our new permitting system that had just recently gone live. The rollout took several months, but it has since become very successful, and property owners and contractors are now easily able to submit all sorts of documents online that used to require them to come to City Hall. Working with the Department of Economic and Community Development, the building division continues to work on shortening the time frame for getting permits. Due to this new software and additional cooperation, building and planning permits can now move forward and be issued at the same time. Staff from both departments continue to meet monthly to refine process and cut red tape for those trying to invest in our city. I want to thank our hardworking staff for taking on such a difficult transition and working with a spirit of continuous improvement. In total, counting rental and commercial properties, over 6,600 inspections were conducted last year. We continue to invest in our staffing in the division as well. Last year, an electrical inspector and 3rd permit clerk position were filled. The city is looking to add another full-time building inspector to assist with new development projects coming online this year. Additionally, the department was able to inspect 2,764 homes in Ward 2 as part of our annual sweeps program. It will move to Ward 3 this year. This program, which has been paused during COVID, is in its 3rd year since restarting it. I know it can be frustrating for residents who have been cited, and it can place a financial burden on our homeowners, which is why my administration started the Safe and Healthy Homes program. This program assists homeowners with needed repairs, such as roofs, windows, porches, waterproofing, and other critical repairs. Our Community and Economic Development Coordinator continues to be in attendance during our housing court sessions to offer assistance to those who need it and qualify for the program. This is an important program that helps protect the value of our neighborhoods and needs to be done with compassion. I'm pleased to report that both the code enforcement and the Safe and Healthy Homes program are doing exactly that. Looking ahead, we want to embed a licensed social worker within the Public Safety Department. A social worker will be a resource for our first responders in dispatch, fire, and police, as well as a community resource for residents, both children and adults, who need assistance connecting to services such as healthcare, supplemental nutrition, heating assistance, and more. In doing this work, we can help break the cycle of poverty and violence that can lead to involvement with our safety forces. It is my hope a position like this can be funded in 2026. Similarly, we are working toward a dedicated crime prevention program. My team is working on a grant application right now to help launch these efforts, which includes an emphasis on gun violence reduction, a community impact unit, apprehension of violent theft offenders, and supportive technology. When looking for an area to live, people not only want to know the community is safe and there is a plan for infrastructure, but they also want options for recreational activities. In late 2024, the first major renovation of North Olmsted Community Park in its history broke ground. This renovation will happen in 2 phases. Phase 1 is currently underway on the north side of the park and includes constructing 3 new ball fields, a new Americans with Disability Act compliant parking lot, new walking trails with connections to the sidewalk, a new concession stand, and new restrooms. Phase 2 of the project will go out to bid in April and will encompass the renovations to the southern end of the park between the Senior Center and Community Cabin and Lorraine Road. The second phase will include improved trails, a splash park, performance stage, additional parking for visitors, relocation of a lighted ball field, new all-inclusive playground equipment, tennis and pickleball courts, improved open spaces in the park, and bioretention areas. All of the improvements are compliant with the Americans with Disability Act and are scheduled to be completed this calendar year, with the ball fields, concessions, splash park, and performance stage ready to use in 2026. As part of the park's renovation project, Barton Bradley Park will undergo a parking lot renovation that will be completed this spring. The project will include an improved parking configuration with crosswalks identified and added, as well as a new drop-off lane on the soccer field side. Little Clay Park will see repairs and improvements to the pavilion, additional play equipment for the playground, and improved ball fields. For 2025, the highly successful summer concert series will continue. These concerts are tentatively scheduled for Barton Bradley Park. My administration is acting on the renovations for the parks that were called out in the 2015 Recreation Plan and from updates asked for in multiple public meetings since I took office. This project is funded in part by a $150,000 earmark from former Ohio State Senator Matt Dolan's office and $500,000 grant through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. This is another example of a project which we do not move forward until we find outside funding to help offset the costs to our residents. Since I took office, the Recreation and Public Engagement Department has been awarded funds totaling over $1 million from local, state, and federal grants to help improve our city's parks and facilities. We continue to look to improve offerings at the Recreation Center. Last year, a North Olmsted family approached the Recreation Center about a need for an adult changing table in order to utilize the facility. This provided the impetus for the city to apply for a grant through the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. The city was awarded $10,000 to purchase and install the table at the Recreation Center. Renovations are near completion that will transform a room in the pool corridor into a family changing room equipped with the automatic changing table, a mother's room, as well as additional storage, allowing the center to be more inclusive to our residents' needs. This will make our Recreation Center one of only a few facilities in Cuyahoga County to provide all of these services to its users. It's no secret we have an aging aquatics facility. While our pools are safe, they are about 20 years past their life expectancy. Due to the city not prioritizing aquatics facilities in the past, we now experience frequent equipment breakdowns that cause us to close the pools, even as recently as last week. It's time to stop kicking the can down the road. We need to get a handle on what should be done with our facilities and determine the best way to move forward. This year, we're planning an aquatic study to gauge the best direction to take. And next year, I will share a roadmap with the community about the future of our pools. If you use our Recreation Center or the clubhouse and ballroom at Springvale, you are well aware these facilities have lacked adequate access to Wi-Fi. This is unacceptable. Last year, we started the Wi-Fi project. The project is scheduled to be completed by this summer, and once it is, our residents and visitors will finally have Wi-Fi access in these facilities. Springvale is a treasured city asset. The ballroom we are all in this evening continues to gain national attention by being featured in the current edition of Today's Bride magazine and on the magazine's website. For the third time, the United States Kids Golf Outing was held at the Springvale Golf Course last year. It was so successful, this national event is returning in 2025. We really do have a treasure right here in North Olmsted with this facility. You may have used or seen this evening the ADA handicap ramp at the side entrance of this facility. That was done last year thanks to a $35,000 award from our County Council representative, Pat Kelly. Other improvements to the golf course and ballroom included an improved parking lot and lighting, along with paved access for golf carts, new drainage on the number 18 fairway, rebuilt tee box on the first hole, new countertop sinks and hardware in the men's and women's bathrooms, and a new irrigation fountain in the pond. However, work is not done. This year, we intend to redo the entrance and turnaround for the ballroom, add a new restroom building on the course, complete the bridal suite bathroom, install new vinyl siding on the clubhouse, and install new windows. Revenue is up at Springvale, and as we make these needed investments, the interest in holding events in this building and at the golf course will only continue to increase, thus offsetting the costs of the investment. We continue to help our seniors at the Senior Center and community cabin kitchens were completely renovated in 2024 using grant funding. We saw 5% growth in the use of the Senior Center this year. We received 8,512 nutritional meals through the Congregate Meal Program. We also had 332 client contacts with our social worker, where we were able to offer service coordination, utility assistance, housing assistance, and crisis management. Last year, the Oxcart Food Pantry served a total of 1,551 households, including 4,608 people. This included 1,046 seniors, 2,020 adults, and 1,542 children. This is an average of 129 North Olmsted families a month that are receiving help from our pantry. Thanks to the efforts of County Councilman Pat Kelly, the city received county ARPA funding in the amount of $9,890 to install a gas-powered backup generator at the food pantry to keep the power on during an emergency and preserve the pantry's food. The generator will be installed this spring. I have made increased transparency a staple of our work. We have been busy building a geographic information systems portal. Later this year, the portal will become public. When the system launches, citizens will be able to access their zoning designation, quickly see who their councilperson is, and access the street rating profile, as well as parts of their underground infrastructure, and much more as we add new data to the system. Believe it or not, utilizing this technology was originally recommended as part of the 2000 master plan, but it was never implemented. Well, now we're moving into the 21st century. By the end of May this year, a much-needed audio-visual overhaul of council chambers and caucus room will take place. Once this is installed, residents will not only be able to see the proceedings online, but if documents are being shown to council, they will be able to see those as well. This new system will be used to provide coverage of other public meetings, such as our boards and commissions. This may seem like a small thing, but it is important that our residents have reliable access to our public meetings. This needed upgrade is being paid for with federal dollars. This year, I am launching the North Olmsted Performance Improvement Initiative. This will be designed to make city government more efficient, effective, and transparent by improving the processes we use to deliver services. We will collect, track, and use performance data to identify both successes and opportunities for improvement. I will be asking my directors to set new goals for 2026 and identify key metrics to track progress against those goals. For example, the Finance Department issues an annual report that provides a summary of how our tax dollars are spent. However, this is the big picture view. I want us to drill down further. Through this new initiative, we can examine and compare performance in multiple areas, such as in fire safety, community engagement events to reduce crime, program participants in aquatics, new housing units built, miles of roadway repairs, and grant monies received. Each department or division will meet and present on progress at least 3 times per year. Communication is a key part of transparency. In that vein, we implemented quarterly print newsletters that were mailed to all homes in the city. We have increased our presence on social media and have recently created a new YouTube channel for North Olmsted. Each week, we post our North Olmsted Now segment that highlights businesses, events, and projects. We launched our new city alert system. It is significantly better than what we had in the past. You can pick the types of alerts you would like to receive and how you would like to receive them. If you haven't signed up yet, you can scan the QR code located at the front of the room to register before you leave tonight. As an administration, we will relentlessly pursue investments in technology to make our operations more efficient, effective, and transparent. Since taking office, I have increased the investment in safety, our service department, recreation, and social programs for our residents. However, all of this comes with a price. I'm proud of how we have worked to secure our fair share of outside funding for our projects and programs. I'm not certain if there has been such a productive period where the city has benefited from so much outside funding. Thanks to the tireless efforts of my staff, the help of Macaulay and Associates, our outside funding consultants, and the work of our federal, state, and county representatives, we have been able to stretch our local dollars farther. We've secured well over $2.2 million of outside funding since I took office. This said, the reality is most of our spending comes from your local tax dollars. The best way to ensure that we are able to continue to provide high-quality services to you is with a strong economy. I decided before taking office to create a full-time economic development department. I made the decision that it was too important to rely on a consultant as had been done in the past. I did not want someone who works for multiple cities in our area and gives us just a few hours a week. I wanted someone who is focusing full-time on North Olmsted. This decision has benefited our city immensely. I'm sure many of you have questions about Moen leaving our community. Let me start by saying there is nothing we could have done to keep Moen here. It was a corporate restructure for the parent company, Fortune Brands. This restructure also affected Maumee, Ohio, Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and Irvine, California, with all of those communities losing hundreds of jobs. Despite our efforts locally and regionally, Moen refused to meet with my administration. 2 years ago, I asked for our regional economic development partner, Team NEO, to assist us in facilitating a conversation with the company, and they refused to meet with Team NEO as well. No sugarcoating it, this is a blow. It's a blow for the employees at Moen, first and foremost, and it's a blow for our city. However, it is an opportunity. We are talking with our state and county government about the issue. The first thing we are doing is working with these other organizations to try and keep the talent here in North Olmsted. The Moen property is in great shape, and there is an open lot next to it that is undeveloped, adding value to the property. I am meeting with their leadership next week to talk about these assets and to work to ensure that the building and land does not sit empty. It is in a prime spot right off of I-480 and has easy access to the Cleveland Airport. This has happened in other communities, and I would point to a situation right down the road. American Greetings left its headquarters in Brooklyn, but now the property generates more revenue for the city of Brooklyn than it did when American Greetings was headquartered there. While I am disappointed when any business leaves, I truly believe we have an opportunity here, and our economic development director has been focused on finding a replacement. Regarding the mall, at last year's State of the City speech, I unveiled some concept art of an idea for a zoning overlay district. For those of you that are not familiar with this, it is a way for us to make it easier to redevelop the property. I'm pleased to report that we have refined the overlay district in the year since, and the legislation is currently pending before City Council. I'm hopeful, working with Council, we can get this passed and implemented soon. When it passes, it will lay the groundwork to help ensure that the mall area thrives for decades to come. It is an important community asset. Phoenix Theaters moved in last year. It received a national award for the rehabilitation it did with the old movie theater site. There have been over 200,000 guests of the theater, and sales are surpassing anything Regal ever produced. Work is moving forward on the Texas Roadhouse, and that is expected to open this summer. We've been very successful in attracting strong businesses to the community. This past year, R.E. Warner moved in, bringing a payroll of $17 million with it. They also have plans to expand. J.L. Moore, a general contractor that works in 23 states, will open its headquarters in North Olmsted later this year. We are grateful for Steve Moore, an Iraq War veteran, for bringing his company to our city. The Radisson Hotel has been bought, and there is currently a $4.5 million investment underway to turn that into a Holiday Inn. While there are some challenges out there, the work we have done in commercial development is paying dividends, and there is reason to be excited about the future. Another opportunity is the brand new elementary school being built on Lorraine Road. The new school project opens up 3 more sites that are going to be available soon. We are working with Superintendent Chris Caleres and the school board to purchase those sites, and by doing so, we will be able to control how those sites are developed. We are closing on the sale of the old Forest School property and are excited about the new development going in there. The infrastructure work will begin in May of this year, and over the next couple of years, 51 units of housing will be built on this site. The past 3 years have flown by. I strongly believe the investments we have made will pay dividends well into the future. We've laid the groundwork for a better North Olmsted. We are starting to see the results. We have increased services for our residents. We've started to see new housing go up. We are increasing the investment in our infrastructure and tackling deferred maintenance projects. We've invested in public safety, in our first responders, their buildings and their equipment to make them and our city safer. We've made improvements to the building you are sitting in tonight. We are renovating a park that has not had a major renovation in 50 years. When I am asked how we are doing as a city, I tell people we are excited and we are looking forward to the future. This administration is not looking at just the short term, but truly believe that the approach of making decisions for the long term is setting North Olmsted and its residents up for a very successful future. Thank you for joining me this evening. Good night.